Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we start today's episode, I just want to let you know the call is a little choppy. So we are talking over the internet. Can't always be perfect in a soundproof room and all that good stuff. So bear with us as we deal with a little bit of choppiness from the cell phone or my computer. We couldn't really figure out where it was coming from, therefore we couldn't really fix it. So the important thing is, though, is that his story is incredible. So I hope you will fight through the little bit of choppiness that we had because there's a really, really great story in it. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to episode 372 of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I'm Jimbo, your host, and we have an incredible guest on the show today. But before we get to that, I want to thank Ian at Auto Fiber for sponsoring this episode. And he just released the tail end of last week, a project that I don't want to take much credit for it. I'm not going to take any credit for it because it was just a simple idea. He kind of already had the foundation of it, but he developed this this bag that drops, and I think it's perfect for shops and maybe guys with bigger mobile vans. But this bag that drops into a bigger trash can, and it has sections and it's segmented out to. It's basically a laundry bag for your microfiber towels. And then he has different compartments so you could separate out your towels. And then from there, it makes it easier to transport them to the washing machine or however you wash your towels. So you can check out stuff like this and more at autofiber.com, autofiber.ca for those of you in Canada, and autofiber.com.au for those down under. Anyway, with that, I want to thank Andreas Perez for joining us today. Andreas, sorry that I can't pronounce your name correctly, but as we were talking about just a second ago, my tongue doesn't roll, and I'm working on my Spanish to help with my tongue roll, but it doesn't. So, but welcome to the show, my man.
You did great, man. It's awesome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And Andreas runs the Good Guys Detail in Texas. You're in Austin, Texas area?
Yes, I am. So we cover San Antonio, San Marcos, Austin, all the way up to Leander. But in all reality, we service all of Texas. If there's a job to be done and we can make it out there, we service all of Central Texas.
Isn't that the truth, man? It's like, you know what? I service New York if I got to go there. You know what I mean? Like, where do you need me? I'm there. If the money pays, I love seeing new places.
Yep. Going to Boston to do a couple of ceramic jobs here in the spring and April. So pretty excited about that.
I want to get into your journey, but since you brought that up, how did that come about? Because I always, I know that there's the guys that come around and train people, and I understand that travel, but you're in Texas. How do you get a couple ceramic jobs in Boston? Tell us about that.
Oh, man. So interesting thing. I had a little pause in life. I'm fixing to be 35 here pretty soon, but I had a little pause in life a few years ago where I took some time off and I met some awesome people through this, at the time, new hobby and sport that I picked up, which was skydiving. And we're not going to talk about skydiving because
wow.
I will ruin your podcast. But anyway,
sounds like an expensive hobby.
It is. And I met a good friend. We became super good friends. He kind of became a mentor in skydiving for me and kind of be piloting and all that stuff. And he's from Massachusetts. And we went kind of like on a little tour around the U.S. and we went back to his house. And his dad just happened to become a fan of my work. While I was there, I detailed some of their cars with very basic turtle wax, home vacuum kind of, and he was fairly impressed. And through the years, I've done a lot of work for his son, who is my friend, and he told me, just come on up and ceramic my a couple of BMWs and family vehicles that they have. So
That's
anyways,
awesome.
that's how that happened.
That's incredible. No, it just shows the power. I think hobbies are important, right? And making friends and connections to be an extension of
Yeah.
your business is always important because you never know what can come of it. So that's awesome. That's amazing. Where did detailing start for you? Where did it kind of come onto your radar? Were you always into cars? What did that look like?
Well, I'm originally from Colombia, South America, and I came to the U.S. when I was 14. I was in Miami, and I kind of only had two options. I could go to work with my dad while I was home, or I could stay home and help my mom clean. So the in between of those, when I couldn't go with my dad, is the car. And through that, I met a neighbor that actually washed cars, and he wasn't a detailer; he was a car washer. And I went on the weekends with him, and that's kind of like where it all began. I had that in my back pocket for many, many, many years, and until I came out to Texas, and I want to say maybe 6 years ago, I started a car wash, and I've been making a living from detailing for the last 6 years.
So what is that? I'm really, really curious. What is, because 14, sometimes you hear these stories of people that they'll move countries or even they'll move states or, and they move at a really young age, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and they don't really haven't really established anything from the place they move from, right? And I can only imagine moving from a city or a state is one thing, but moving a whole country and then kind of moving at an age that it's kind of a pivotal age in life, right? Where you can kind of, you're starting to understand a lot. You probably had some roots there in Colombia. What was that like to kind of move to a whole new place at kind of such an interesting pivotal age?
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. It still is. And yes, there were definitely roots back in Colombia and still are. And it was a bit of a challenge, but I think it's easier. I was in Miami, so there's a Spanish-speaking population there, which made things, a little bit easier to integrate to the culture and whatnot. But it's been challenging. My mom and dad, most of my family actually lives in the U.S., so I think that's made it that I haven't had to walk too many difficult paths in that aspect, other than overcoming the language barrier. But moving from place to place, ever since I was since I was born, we always kind of been on the move from one city to the next, just because my parents are very entrepreneurial.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and so going to the next opportunity.
Gotcha.
So life has become real easy for me to go from city to city. Matter of fact, that I don't spend more than 4 or 5 years in the same place.
Gotcha. So why the move?
That's been for me.
Got it. So it's kind of been normal to move around and kind of bounce around anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Got it. Why Miami to Texas then? What was in Texas that either drew you there, or was there just an opportunity to move there?
So yeah, when I was 15, so I lived in Miami for a little somewhere in there. And my dad got a contract. He's a truck driver, so he has a trucking company. And the opportunity came out of El Paso, Texas. And my mom was like, well, we're not going to move to El Paso because I have a teenage son that loves to get in trouble. So he's going to probably become a gang member. And
Gotcha.
This is the honest truth. Like, she will tell me that to this day. I thought I was going to become a gang member. So she said, let's pick somewhere close to El Paso where things are not as hectic, or it's not a big city. So we moved to a place called Alamogordo, New Mexico. And that's where I lived for about a decade or so, in a very small town, and kind of like made a name for myself there. And so that's how it happened. My parents, then a few years ago, I hit a wall in life, and a friend of mine told me, "Hey, man, with your spirit, if you go to Texas right now, you can sell cold water on the side of the highway, and you'll make a small fortune." And so I came to Texas. I still haven't made a fortune, but I
but you're on
haven't
your
been
way.
selling water on the side of the road.
You're on your way. So then was it when you moved to Texas that you kind of always had this car cleaning kind of detailing, I guess, in your back pocket, but was it not until you got to Texas that you actually like started doing it? I want to say taking it more seriously, but I don't mean to degrade you in saying that. I feel like that's not a good way to phrase it, but is that when you started kind of setting up, how about this, like set up the Good Guys Detailing company? Like, is that when you started doing that, or had you done that in New Mexico or Miami?
No, so the Good Guys started in Texas. It just used to be, hey, I know this kid that like is really good at cleaning cars, and he knows how to clean and polish them and whatnot.
Sure.
And when I came to Texas, it's when the Good Guys started. I was kind of like in that chase of, I saw a lot of opportunity in that aspect, and one thing kind of led to another, where I was able to work in the oil field and work. Okay, so it was supposed to be pretty much my idea was go pressure wash big rigs, and on my days off from the oil field, and kind of build a team and go from there. And life took turns, and life was life, and I wound up being able to small car wash or get a small car wash, and just kind of went from there, man.
That's awesome. And what does it look like? Was that 4 or 5 years ago, you said?
Yeah, so that was 2000, and I started the car wash 2014.
Okay.
And I was working in the actual oil field, so I had 6 months off, and I was working 6 months out of the year. And things through away, and again, looking for that opportunity of washing big rigs wasn't really working out. I wasn't really doing anything with that.
Right.
I bought a van and water and pressure washer and all that stuff in it, and it wasn't really doing anything. So in the small town where I lived...
How come you don't think it was doing anything?
Well, because it was when I was doing work, it was taking a lot of time.
Gotcha.
But the trucks stay so dirty all the time. And it just wasn't, it didn't have any value to the customer. So it was hard to find something where I could be like, okay, we're making this much money, like this.
Hard to justify, right?
I'm coming out here. Yeah. So, and I was still working at an oil field rig. It's pretty good living. I mean, you make pretty decent money. So I didn't it and being out hustling 15 hours out of the day, like I'm not going home until I make $300 or
right.
It was hard to get into that mentality. So
gotcha.
I think that with it, and the opportunity came 2 miles down the road from my house to get into a car wash, and that made a little bit of sense. And I knew the oil field was starting kind of to go down, so pretty much set up shop with a gas pressure washer and hooked up a couple hoses and some brushes and stuff, and $10 car washes. Here we go for 3 months.
So was that spot already set up, or was it just like a gas station, or what? How did that?
It was an old rundown car wash, like 6 bays.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
I took over 3 of them.
Wow.
Because it had become a tire shop. So a guy was doing tires for like super cheap. I mean, I'm talking on the side of the 290, the highway, in between Houston and Austin. And car washes, super,
wow.
super ghetto.
Yeah.
But hey, man, we had a line down the street on Saturdays. Which
wow. That's incredible. I'm a huge fan of, like, one, just knowing your market, right? But also 2, you got to start somewhere. And I think I'm glad you brought that up, because I think sometimes it can be, we only see kind of where people are at now, right? So they're doing these high-end thousands of dollar correction and coding jobs, but it's very, very rare that someone actually starts there, right? And my kind of opinion is you almost don't want to start there. You almost want to start at the $10 car wash range, right? You kind of want to start with the grunt work, the crap work, right? Because then you're forced to learn kind of the hacks or the shortcuts or the ways to be really, really effective and efficient, right? Because you have to. There's only so many dollars and $10, right? So you're forced to be really, really effective with your time and efficient. So I think it's actually an advantage. I think a lot of people look at it as a disadvantage, but I think it's an advantage to start in a position like that, you know?
Yes, most definitely. I think it's kind of like trial by fire. Being able to do those, like, yeah, starting super low and kind of work your way up. I would have never, if you would have asked me 5 years or 4 years ago, whenever I was doing, tractors that were driving from the farm down the street to get washed for $25, you would have
Right.
asked me then, hey, do you think you can be doing a, $2 million car next Tuesday? I would be like, no, that's
Wow.
crazy. Like, no.
So are you still in that
That wouldn't happen.
three bay? Are you still in those three bays?
No.
Okay.
So I sold that. I went through a divorce and in life, and I needed some time off and kind of like reset my brain and reset my spirits and all that. So I saw that little space, and they're still running it. Not out of that bay. He's just mobile now, and he kind of kept the same name that I have, so it makes it kind of odd. But I'm not in this people. I'm doing really well for what we're doing here in Austin, and but anyways, yeah, I saw that and kind of just set out some goals for my life, what I wanted, where I wanted to be personally, financially, career-wise, definitely, like all of that. Just started setting really, really clear goals of where I wanted to be, and one thing led to another, and yeah, we're doing high-end detailing in Austin, Texas, man.
That's awesome. And doing it
Doing
complete.
$2,000 jobs.
Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. What do you think? So what shifted for you then? Was it just kind of sitting down and laying down those kind of goals and kind of the vision of what you wanted the company to become and your life to become, and then kind of, not to sound woo-woo, but like visualizing that and kind of putting it out there and putting it into perspective kind of led to doing that type of work? Or what do you kind of attribute that to? And I think it's sorry to keep rambling, but I think it's super important. You nailed on something or went over it. Like, sometimes you just need to like remove yourself from the situation, and the situation can be life, right? So remove yourself from the situation of life for a second, go on a trip or take a weekend off or whatever you got to do to kind of reset, reorganize, restructure your thoughts, your brain, everything, right? And so, but what do you attribute kind of being able to go from those $10 car washes to a multi-$1,000 deal?
Well, I'm a strong believer of the School of Hard Knocks, and it's just that, yeah, getting to a point where, and this gets a little bit more into, I don't want to say weird, but it went to me sitting in my office at the car wash at 2 a.m. with a 9mm in my making money. I was making my mortgage. I was doing things, but I was not happy at all. So I think being able to figure out when you're not happy and what is it going to take for me to be happy. So yeah, it was completely things that were driving me down, and it sounds almost selfish, but it's yeah, being able to step away. For me, it was, how much money do I owe? How fast can I? Whatever I have left, what can I do to kind of hit reset? And that's exactly what I did. Sold the house, sold cars, Like they went through a divorce. That was kind of like what it made all those things happen. So the car wash for literally cash money, very, very cheap. We were running 500 cars a month
Wow.
there, if not more. And at that time that I sold it, I mean, we were already doing $150 details and whatnot. Like the prices had gone up on a lot of stuff, and we were doing better work and just so at the time we sold it, or that I sold it, it was something else that when it had started. So, anyways, it was just to take a year off, and that's exactly what I did. I took a year off. I skydived for a whole year.
Wow. Got it. And that's how you met your friends
500
in Boston. Yeah. I love that. That's awesome.
That's what it took for me. That's what it took for me. For a lot of people, is taking a vacation to
Sure.
going to the beach for a weekend and then. So for me, it was being able to set those goals and have the clarity of where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. Where I'm not chasing just money.
Yep.
And I'm chasing like what's going to make me happy and how can I get there while doing something of value. And it sounds kind of cliche, but
no, but I think it's important, and I think that's definitely something that we're going to start seeing a lot more of like everyone does seem to just be chasing the dollar, right? And it's like or working too many hours for the dollars that they're making, and they don't have any not necessarily balance, but they don't have any they're not happy, right? You get to this, like you said, happened with you. You get to the end, or you get to the end of this road that you thought you wanted, and it's like, crap, I'm making good money. This is great, but like, I'm either working all the time, or I'm not happy, or I'm leveraged to the hilt, and I don't want to be leveraged. I just want it simpler. Like, there's a bunch to it, and it's like, man, it's so important to keep that focus of like, what makes me happy? What do I want? I think that's really, really important.
Yeah.
I'm glad you hit on that. I think that's a really important part. So where? And, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No. You're saying that I haven't made more time. I have made more time for things that are important. So I've never worked harder than I am nowadays. I mean, I'm running 3 companies shorthanded on all ends. I've never worked so freaking hard, but it's so amazing to get up in the morning, like being able to just smile and just.
That's amazing.
Yes, I only slept 4 hours, but fuck. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Go.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great feeling. I mean, I've never felt for a few years now, and I won't change anything that I'm doing right now for being able to breathe in the morning. It's amazing.
That's incredible. So yeah, catch us up to speed then. Where is the Good Guys Detailed now? You kind of hinted that you're doing higher end jobs or really high end jobs. So is it the mobile rig traveling around doing these high end jobs? What does your business look like today?
Oh man. Well, thank you for asking and for allowing me to touch on that. And the Good Guys Detail, man, we're still super humble. Yes, we get our hands on some pretty amazing cars, but we're still doing Hondas. We're still doing the mom and pop bands. We have a shop downtown Austin, right off Highway 35. We have a mobile van that we acquired from a business that was a strong competitor in the area, and that's a whole different story, man. We could go into that. I can leave it off record, kind of like what went down with that, and that makes a fantastic story, and it has everything to do with where we're at now. But it was just that people allowed me to show them what I had learned through the last few years as far as detailing and wanting to learn and have a game every day, and that's how we wound up doing. Building relationships, because at the end of the day, that's all you have is relationships. I mean, and if you can make money off of that, that's amazing. I can't take all the credit. We are where we are because I have an amazing support group. My girlfriend, she runs the back end of everything. She handles 70% of my life. I just kind of show up to work.
There you go.
So I just check the calendar in the morning and I set the GPS and I go and do it, and she does everything else.
That's awesome, man. That's amazing.
But yeah, that's a huge thing, man. Trying to do it by myself, yes, it's possible. But being able to have a good partner in life makes all the difference in the world.
That's incredible. That's incredible. How, if people want to follow along your journey, or they're in the Austin area, Central Texas area, and they kind of want to pick your brain, hear more about your story, kind of connect with you, how can they find you? How can they connect with you?
So our webpage is www.goodguysdetail.com, and you can follow our social media through the links on there. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and on Snapchat. And if you just Google the hashtag Good Guys Detail TX, you'll be able to pull us up and see all of our work. Constantly putting stuff on live videos, feed, and I'm working on a YouTube channel, but it's so time consuming, and I'm sure you know about that.
Yeah, it's insane. But I'll tell you what, I mean, I've been a huge proponent of it, you know, just trying to put videos out and content out, because it really, really does just a ton for your business. It's crazy how much. I was just on a call for the Detailer Inner Circle yesterday, and had a couple people on talking about it, and it's like the credibility that a video gives your company over the potential competition is insane. You know, for the customers, they feel like you're better if they can see your face. It's weird.
Yep. I'm kind of old school in a lot of ways. And a few years back, I was like, well, yeah, social media, like, yeah, we'll put some stuff on Facebook. But I thought, like, you got to talk to people, which, yes, is true. But as the years go, I'm seeing more benefit from social media than I do from, like, that referral. Or, like, I'm a lot more people. And that way. But, yeah, I'm a huge believer of, put content out and you'll see results. And we don't do anything big, but yeah, it's huge, man.
That's awesome.
That's how we find you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's how
I found you.
That's amazing, man. Well, I want to say I appreciate you for taking the time today out of your busy schedule, man. You're running a detailing business. You don't have to do this kind of stuff, you know. But so I appreciate you taking the time to share your story and your journey.
Like I said, you're probably just feeding my ego, man, because that's what it is. But yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch with us, also our phone number 512-749-9087. Shoot me a text. It's the way to do that. Or webpage, man. I'd really, really having me over and being able to share a little bit of the story, and super stoked that I'm a fan of yours. So it's like I'm talking to a superstar. So.
All right, guys, thanks for listening to that episode 372. Make sure you check out the DetailerInnerCircle.com and check out that new cool basket towel holder from Autofiber. I'm not sure exactly what it's called yet, but again, sorry about the little bit of choppiness. Hope you guys still enjoyed that, and hope you were able to pull enough out of that. I will catch you guys on the next episode. See ya.